So the worst part about donating blood, I find, is the awkward questions they ask, such as, whose blood is that? Where did it come from? Why is it in a bucket?
Why is there a straw in it as well?
Yeah. Why is it all over your face? I opened up a book entitled Guide to Surgical Procedures. Unfortunately, the appendix has been removed.
Oh.
Come on. And on a medical, while we're talking about medical stuff, I mean, it is Diarrhea Awareness Week.
Really?
Yeah. It runs
because that has to be pointed out, doesn't it?
It's diarrhea awareness. Diarrhea? Yeah, diarrhea. No, you really don't want diarrhea. That's worse than diarrhea.
That's a 2 for that, is
2 for 1. Yeah.
But diarrhea awareness, very important.
Yeah, exactly.
You could be out and about, you could be distracted, you might know you've not got it until you take your bicycle clips off when you get home.
Okay, I'm not even going to bother finishing that joke. That works better. Anyway. Cheers, Jim. Anyway, hello, everyone.
I haven't heard someone say bicycle clips in about 20 years.
Oh, come on. It's a different generation.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Oh, well. Anyway.
Put your iPhone around your bottoms of your kegs.
Around your bottoms and your kegs? What the fuck is that? Oh, God. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Black Dog 131. I'm Lee.
I'm
Darren.
not Darren. He's made a late appearance.
Oh, God, yeah. So don't worry.
I'm Darren.
DarrenGPT is back on the case. Go on, sorry, Jim. Go on, carry on.
Yes, and as you heard, I'm definitely not Darren.
No.
And I sometimes am Jim.
Lovely. And this week we'll be seeing how everyone's week's been. We'll be doing some feedback for last week's episode, which was Triangle of Sadness. And then we will be moving on to this week's movie, which is your choice, Jim, which is...
The Man Who Killed Hitler and then the Bigfoot.
Yes. Wonder what it's about.
Well, therein lies a story.
Therein lies a tale. Anyway, before we get to that, let's find out how everyone's week's been. Darren is obviously not here, so we are relying on Darren's GPT, aren't we, Darren?
It was a big pile of old shit.
Yes, exactly. And don't worry, I've got a few new ones. Don't panic. Yeah, he's away because he's got something urgent that he's going to be dealing with tomorrow morning, and he would rather not be up till fucking silly o'clock in the morning.
Is it something that swims around in a pond?
What you mean?
Posh fish.
Yeah,
Yes.
It could be. It could be. But I tell you what. He said to me. He said,
I'm thinking in bed by 10:30.
"There you go," and that was it. So he's off now. He's gone. Anyway. Oh dear, I got a few. Anyway, right, we'll get to him in a while. So, Jim, do you want to? Oh, blimey. Where's that coming from? Oh, so...
That's outside me. That's
right. Okay, no worries.
Drug dealers.
Okay.
We'll soon be caught.
His trees are running up and down the street at the moment after them.
Wasn't me.
Oh, no.
Oh, sorry, Shaggy had to come back.
You've unleashed the beast.
Release the beast. Anyway, go on, Jim. How's your week been?
Eventful and not in a good way.
Okay.
This Friday, I had, for what is people of a certain age, one of the most frightening things that can happen, which is my phone rang at 10:30 on a Friday night.
Oh, God.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Now, enough of you young fruits are out clubbing or snorting magic monkey juice or whatever. You know, your phone's ringing all night. But after a certain age and you live a quiet life, after 9 o'clock, if the phone rings, it's nothing good.
Never.
And indeed, this wasn't. Earlier that day, I'd gone in for a blood test because having chemo, you have a blood test a couple of days before your next session to see how things are. And it was the blood lab at the hospital saying, your platelets are down, your hemoglobin's down, your white cell count's down. I think you better come in.
Oh, shit.
So I went down and to A&E, checked in at reception and had a little wait, and then was taken to a private room, and where basically the doctor said, your blood's very low, we need to give you antibiotics and keep you in and monitor you, and probably a blood transfusion as well to top up the levels for everything.
Wow.
So I ended up staying in hospital and being hooked up to an IV most of the time with various things in it.
Shit.
And then I was allowed to go home quite late Saturday evening.
Oh, Christ.
After got the levels back up again, which was ironic because actually I didn't actually feel particularly bad in myself. I felt tired, but that's and a bit crap, but that's par for the course. I've been living with that for months now. Actually, I didn't feel as bad after the last round of chemo, ironically.
Of course.
But yes, I was due to start what would be the last cycle today, which I've been knocked back a week to give my body a bit more chance to recover.
Right.
So it's kind of, so I was doing it already after being in hospital a few weeks ago again. But, now the doctor said, really, you've got to be very careful of getting an infection because it can go wrong very, very quickly because you've basically got no immune system.
Yeah, shit.
So I'll be staying a bit longer in kind of effectively COVID shielding circumstances where apart from going out walking with the dog, which I'm actually even not doing that so much because I'm actually just very physically run down and I get out of breath now. And that's the result of the hemoglobin being low.
Right.
It's not carrying enough oxygen around.
Oh, Christ.
So even the dog walking is getting severely cut back, but so I'm pretty much housebound for the next 3 weeks at least. So, but hopefully avoid another stay in hospital. But we'll see.
Presumably, once you hit the end of that, that's it, done.
Well, not quite done because then I have to go back for a scan to see if it is indeed done. But then I have another tumour in the other lung, a smaller one, which they've got slated to try and nuke with radiotherapy. So
great.
That's be like stage 3, all going well. So
right.
But there's a chance the chemo might have taken care of it, but or at least made it smaller. So or kept it in check. So, but I'll have to wait about 3 weeks, a month after I finish the chemo before they can give me another scan with yet more radiation. So,
oh Christ!
Yeah.
Okay. Right. Okay. Well,
I'll tell you a long haul.
Yeah, I was going to say it's a long old haul, but I tell you what, we'll have a celebration virtually. I'll send you some gin. I'll send you some gin, and you can celebrate.
Well, this is I'm really missing, just being able to just go out for a meal somewhere.
Yeah,
because that's kind of like it's always So again, when you're a certain age, you appreciate and you see the point of going out for a meal. Oh, yes. Somebody's cooked. Now I don't have to wash up. Brilliant.
Yeah, oh, thank fuck.
Someone said on Facebook, I can't remember who said the true measure of realising you're an adult is that dreadful day when you realise you have to decide what you're having for your dinner every single day for the rest of your life.
Yeah. Yeah. It's that horrific moment of just like, oh God. Okay, so I guess nothing else has much been going on then, really.
No, that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
The annoying thing was when I got the phone call, we were just into a new series we started watching. It's just come back for its second season. First season completely passed my radar by. But it's on Netflix called Sweet Tooth.
Oh, right. I've seen a couple of things on.
It's really good. We've only watched about the first 3. I can't remember 3 or 4 up to, but it's really good. I mean, I know a lot of people go, "Oh God, it's another post-apocalypse thing." It is, but the wrinkle is there's been this virus that's wiped out most people, but at the same time as the virus, hybrid children who are like part animal start being born.
Oh, right.
And it's all about, initially they're blaming the hybrids for bringing in the disease, and a dad who has a hybrid son basically fucks off to the woods with him and raises him in a forest in complete isolation.
Nice.
And that's where you start. And but it's really, really it's beautifully shot. It's directed by Jim Mickle, who I think he did Stakeland. He's part of that sort of outfit. It's just beautifully made. It's got this strange, just quirky twist to it, and a lot of kind of humour. And I'm just really intrigued to see where on earth it goes. But it just feels very different. It's a lot more upbeat than most post-apocalypse things, because you're seeing a lot through a child's view. Everything's new to him. You know what I mean?
That's cool.
And he doesn't really understand how dangerous the world is. So everything's sort of,
Yeah, level of innocence, the whole thing.
It's very. It's a definite tonic and flip side to your usual post-apocalypse sort of God is grim. I mean, things are tough, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of bad things happening, but the overall tone of the show isn't kind of like, oh, we're all doomed. It's kind of, you're just really intrigued to see, where his adventure's going to take him. So, yeah. So nice. I recommend that if you've overlooked it. It's pleasingly different. And I say it's just the central performance of the little actor playing the male lead, Gus. He's like an 8-9-year-old kid. He's fantastic. He's really, really good.
Nice.
Completely adorable, but just a brilliant performance for a young actor. Because a lot of it, especially in the first episode, he has no dialogue. Just him reacting to things, if you know what I mean. Which is that's some of the toughest acting you can do if you've got no lines.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it's easy to do good acting if someone's written you a lovely big speech or an argument with another character, but to do that, that called pure body language acting. Very impressed. Yeah.
Nice.
You will go on to great things, I reckon.
Cool. Excellent.
So I recommend that if you've passed it by as well.
Yeah.
It's just the second season's just started, which is how I found out about it. I thought, we'll give that a go. And we're glad we did.
Nice, because I've seen a couple of I subscribe to a lot of effects groups and stuff like that on Facebook and elsewhere, and they've all been doing the sort of roundabout with the show reels, the visual effects show reels for like things like the digital horns that go on the kid's head and stuff like that. So I've kind of suddenly sprung into awareness in my sort of just by accident. So it's kind of interesting you bring it up. It's like, oh, okay, might be worth a look. So that sounds good, and that's on Netflix, yeah.
It is on Netflix,
nice,
yes.
Nice. I'll watch that out actually. Cool, excellent.
So round that there off on a positive note.
There you go, lovely. Well, the other positive note is: are you feeling better after your scare?
I'm mainly just getting over the tiredness because obviously going to hospital, you get no sleep whatsoever. Particularly going 10:30 at night.
Yeah, well. That won't help.
The advantage, though, of having no immune system is I first got moved to like a private treatment room and then onto a ward about 5 a.m. But I had a private room with its own bathroom and shower, so that was
lovely.
Good. Yeah.
Excellent. Cool. Right. Okie dokie. Well, we'll check back in with you next week and see how it's going. Okay. Hopefully, fingers crossed, you're improving.
Yes, indeed. I've got another blood test Friday, so I might pack an overnight bag this time.
Yeah, and a tent and some soap. All right, then. We'll move on then to you, Elton. How about you, sir? How's your week?
It's been pretty quiet. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm trying to actually remember. We had family come up, but that's not interesting apart from to me and my family.
Yep.
No, it's been really quiet, so not a lot to report. I'm trying to remember what I've actually watched, but I don't think I have watched much, really. No, not a lot. So, yeah, pretty quiet.
No. Right, so nothing at all?
No, nothing at all. It's been... no, nothing at all. I'm really sorry. Nothing at all.
Right. Okay. That's... Well, okay then. Nothing at all.
You've been playing the Long Dark, haven't you?
Do you want me to talk about that again? Would you like me? I don't mind.
I don't mind. Have you been playing it?
I have been playing it, yes.
And is it okay? Is it getting better, or has it got worse?
No, it's getting better. I'm getting worse.
Right. I'll take it as that.
I tend to die very, very easily on these things. If this was real life, I wouldn't survive beyond a day and a half. And that's without wolves and bears stalking me. I would just end up drinking murky water and dying and have like rabies by the end of the day. It'll be shocking.
Okay. Oh, all right, fair enough.
Okay. It's such a hard learning curve. I'm watching people play this thing on the hardest level, and I've like knocked myself down to the one just below the hardest level to really give it a good go. And they are just rocking it. They are like 250 days deep into this, playing it, and they've got loads and loads of meat. They kill a bear, It's fine. It's just another day. It's like jumping on a bus for us. It's like, well, killed a bear, harvested his meat, made a coat out of him, and then went to sleep. And there's me going, my God, I've got 3 packets of crisps left, and that's it.
I've got 3 packets of crisps, and even those are soggy.
Yeah.
And the bear's coming to nick them.
Yeah.
Right.
But sometimes I do think it knows where you are in the game, and it knows how to make that dramatic struggle towards the very end. I was mucking around with it, and I saved my game. I was doing it on Twitch and just broadcasting it there just for shits and giggles with no one watching. And
well, while you're at it, why don't you promote your Twitch?
No, I'm not going to do that.
Go on.
It's Rogue 2 Media. There we go.
There you go. Rogue 2 Media on Twitch.
Yeah.
Of course it is.
And I was having a really good day, and I was like, oh, what's that over there? Is that a bear? And he's miles away on the ice. I was like, oh, that's fine. That's not going to trouble me. And I'm digging around in this house, and I'm checking letterboxes, and I'm like, I can check letterboxes. This is great. Oh, look, there's someone's left the paper there. Brilliant. I'll use that for lighting stuff again later. And then I went upstairs. I thought, right, I've had a really good day. I'm going to go to sleep. And so I went to sleep. And then I stopped recording on the broadcasting on the Twitch. And then I woke up. I was like, right, I might just have a little peek outside. I might just have a little peek. And so I had a little peek and then thoroughly got my face mauled off by a bear, which wasn't broadcast. And it was, oh, jeez. The exciting bit was missed.
Yeah, I just had a vision of sort of the bear being like, was it Sir Lancelot in Monty Python, where they're Holy Grail, when they're looking far, far away, and there's Lancelot coming across the fields, and it's going, and you cut back to the 2 guys going, just eating a potato, and then it's back to Lancelot from miles away. And then all of a sudden he's like right there in front of them, stabbing everyone. And, oi!
It was much like that, yes.
Nice.
Yeah. And there are bits where it is just a walking simulator sometimes. And I carry around far too much, and so when you carry too much stuff, you walk slower. And then the weather kicks in, and you're like, oh God, this is horrid. And I'm caught between a rock and a hard place, because one house I know is miles that way and one house I know is miles that way, and I'm right in the middle of it. I'm going to be really slow either way.
Nice.
And the frustrating thing is, well, I need to cook something, and then you grab a stone and you see a rabbit. I was like, I'll bop him on the head and I'll eat that rabbit. And so you throw it and you hit him, and then you're like, oh, I've hit a rabbit. Amazing stuff. Go to run over. Oh, no, I've got too much stuff. I can't run over to him. And by the time you get there, he's like, boing. And he runs off. And you're like, son of a fucking bitch.
I'm awake. I'm alive. I've recovered. And then hop over the hill. Nice.
But I love it. I flipping love this. Sometimes I've got about 3 games going on different levels, and the really easy game is you don't get attacked by anything, which is fine because then you just get to explore. And even exploring is really tough. You just can't. Sometimes you just can't get anywhere because of the weather.
Right.
And the really hard levels. 2 minutes in, and you hear like a wolf growl at you. You're like, "Oh no, give me a break! Come on, just 1 second, please. Let me find my bearings. I have no trousers on, and you're going to do this to me now." Okay.
Who misses? Right.
And whatever you do, remember to put your trousers and gloves back on when you take them off to dry them as well, because I've done that as well.
What the hell is this game?
Well, when you go out in a blizzard, your clothes get saturated with water, and so you have to take them off to dry them out.
Right.
And you put them in front of a fire, you dry them out, you wake up in the morning, they're dried out. It's fine.
Yeah.
But it's no good when you leave that game and then return to it 2 days later and forget to put your trousers on. And so you're walking around in the blizzard. If there was anyone to see you, they'd be like, "Are you all right? You've got no trousers on." But no, you can't look down on yourself unless you're going to infantry, and unless you're going to specifically go and do something with your clothing, which you probably won't unless you find something new. Then you just walk around with no trousers and gloves on,
like you do.
Quite embarrassing.
As you do, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I just call that a Tuesday, to be honest.
That's Tackle Tuesday, isn't it?
Yes, Taco Tuesday, yes. Well, anyway, no, stop it. Don't even make that joke. Don't. I had a joke primed and ready.
I want to say it. I really want to say
it. No, you don't. No, you
okay.
don't. You know there's no good will come of this.
I'll say it in the green room.
You can say it all you like. Say it all you like in the green room, my friend. No one will be around to hear it. We're all thinking it. Let's just accept that we did it.
Just move on quietly.
Let's just all smile, wave, nod knowingly at each other, and move on.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Anything else, sir?
No, I've told you already. Nothing happened.
Fuck all happened. What do you want? Okay. Let's go through some of my things. Okay, so first off, get the game stuff out of the way. I got myself Jedi Survivor, Star Wars Jedi Survivor, which is the new Dark Soulsy, swipey, kill everything game, set in this universe known as Star Wars. I don't know if you've heard of it.
Rings a vague bell.
Yeah, it has that bloke in it. I don't know. No, sorry, I'll stop. Oh no, steady. Darren's not here to carry it on, so I'll just stop there. It's fun. It's good fun. If you played the first one, you know what you're getting with the second one. But basically, there's a lot more sort of fighting styles, and the only other thing is, obviously, they figured out that you play this. If you play in the second one, 99% chance that you played the first one and you thought you were hot shit by the end. In which case, you go stomping down into a little tiny exploration into a little cave, because it's big open worlds. You can go pretty much anywhere. And I went down into a cave, and there was this lovely sort of like pick up this thing and get really good experience, and you can improve your character massively. And you think, right, okay, I'll drop down in there. And at that point, to quote Morgan Freeman, at that point he realized he fucked up. Because out of the darkness comes a massive rancor, and it basically used me as toilet paper. Just literally flattened me and threw me around like a rag doll. And then when my corpse was dead and limp, it decided to carry on throwing me around and flipping me about, because the game is, if nothing else, bugged to fuck. And so sometimes your death doesn't even count as a death, so your poor old body is still flipping and flopping around like a wet rag, and the monster is still beating the shit out of it, and you're going, the game is over, let me die. So there has been a few amusing moments that I've wished I'd just recorded, because it's like there is nothing left of my body. The lightsaber is literally, and the arm is literally detached. It's in a totally different part. The rig inside the character is completely broken. The Rancor's still picking me up by the ankle and basically beating me against the wall, like it's trying to do the washing in some old sort of like Italian 1920s film. It's like slapping it against a rock, So wait for the patch is probably my advice. If you get it. The second thing, this one I should have prepared a written statement, because I feel, and I also for legal reasons, but also because I feel that I'm about to be mocked, and I deserve to be mocked, because I have only myself to blame. Over the course of the last, I don't know how long we've been doing the second series of this thing. I mean, since May 2020, yeah. Since May 2020, a number of films and a number of TV shows have come out, which all rely quite heavily on nostalgia, on memory baiting, on memberberries, on just pointing at a thing and going, remember that thing? You remember it? You remember it? You love it. You fucking love it. That's the only reason this show exists, or this film exists, is so you can point at that thing and go, I remember it. And I usually get very cross at that, don't I?
It does.
Absolutely, yes.
Absolutely. Because you know what? You know you're being manipulated. You know there's actually no story supporting the reason these memberberries are there. And you just feel like you're wasting your time. Anyway, cut forward to now, and I did a big old long shift the week before, which was when we were off for a fortnight. And so I had some time off in lieu. Anyway, I start doing the usual thing I do when I'm on my day off, which is everyone else is doing their own thing. I just sit there with a PlayStation. I maybe go through some YouTube reviews and stuff like that, just to catch up on stuff. And I stumbled across a few reviews, and then coincidentally, someone had started sending me text all about the same thing, essentially confirming what a lot of people had already started saying to me anyway. And I was kind of like, no, I'm not going to fucking pulled into that bollocks again. Which was watch Picard Season 3. Now, I've even said it on here in a couple of episodes when Darren's been like, oh, I think you should check it out. It's like, no, fuck off. Fuck right off with your stupid memberberries. You stupid man. And and so I'm sitting there, and eventually I was told by Andy Plastides that Red Letter Media were reviewing it again, and I'm thinking, oh, it's just going to be 3 episodes of them just fucking ragging on it. And then I went to the first one, and they were positive. Then I went to the second review, which was reviewing like the next 4 episodes, and they were still positive. And I thought, oh, hang on, I'm not getting my hopes up. Then someone of old parish, Black Dog Foxy, who was on here for our Man of Steel review and famously went to the toilet while also doing the review. He's a hardcore old school Trekkie. He kind of dipped out as soon as sort of we got into sort of Deep Space Nine and everything. And he sent me a text going, you really should watch this. You really should. So it's like all these things happened like literally on the Friday that I was off. And I thought, okay, I'll give it 1. So I can at least have something to say about my week this week. And then I can just go, and throw my toys out the pram as per usual. Hulk smash memberberries. And you know what? I binged watched the fucking lot. I absolutely, and you know, it's like being someone who's just finished their 12-step program or got out of Weight Watchers, and the first thing they did was go straight to the pub or go into a cake shop. I literally, I was sitting there watching every episode going, I'm really liking this. I fucking hate myself. I'm really liking this. Oh, stop it. Stop it. You know, like as Darren would say.
Fuck were you thinking?
Yeah, exactly. What the fuck was I thinking? And I'm just thinking, oh God, no, I'm being manipulated here. I know I'm being manipulated. They're just trying, and by the end of it, it was gone. They were pressing all my buttons. They were just hitting me with every conceivable fucking memberberry that I can't say because it will spoil it for people who haven't seen it, who intend to watch it. But essentially, what they did was probably the most drastic quality turnaround of a show, I think, or a film that I've ever seen in my life.
Oh, really?
Because the first series was dog shit. The second series was crazy dog shit that made zero sense. This one was essentially a Star Trek Next Generation movie that finally gave you a closer for the entire series. And it played out, and you got to the end, you went, I don't need to see any more of those characters. Thank you very much. It's done everything. It's tied everything up in a nice little bow, sent off the new characters on their way, and thank you very much. And it was exactly like Star Trek VI Undiscovered Country. You come away just thinking, that's where you leave it. Thank you very much. I'm very happy with that. And to go from, it would be like going from, you know, for our perspective, I know other people feel differently, but it would be going from watching something like Phantom Menace to watching Empire Strikes Back. You go, hang on, how did that pile of shit turn into this? You go, what? What? And like I say, and I absolutely understand my own hypocrisy because I have ragged on memberberries, nostalgia bait, all that stuff. Because it's horribly cynical shit. But this one felt like they were putting things in to make you remember, and actually have a plot point for them.
Yeah.
There was actually plot reasons for things to appear and be the way they were. Rather than just, look, you remember that? That's a comm badge, that is. Oh, look, that is a Klingon. See, he's a Klingon. He's calling himself Klingon. Look. It's just like, no.
Do the highs of season 3, which you've just experienced, make it all worth it for the utter bilge that you experienced in season 1?
No. Absolutely not. I personally would have preferred to have just skipped straight to season 3 and called it a day. One off. Thanks very much. One big 10-hour-long movie, sort of broken up into 10 episodes. I would have been perfectly happy with that and never had to experience 1 and 2 ever. Because I came away with such a piss poor taste in my mouth that I just could not even go near it. I flat out refused to watch season 3 completely because of this. And it was, you know, Darren was going, oh, you must watch it. And then there's like I say, there's other people going, oh, I think you might find you like it. And then it was only like I say, Andy going, Red Letter Media like it, so I hear. And I'm like, okay, well, they like it. And I watched this reviews and I'm thinking, yeah, they're being positive, and they've usually been pretty negative about it. And then there was another reviewer I usually watch called Jeremy Johns. And he came out with one when the season wrapped up. And it was just like, okay, fine, right. I'm hearing too many people whose opinions I respect saying the same thing. And I thought, okay, I'll give it a watch. And then, like I say, as soon as they started music, the fucking lot, and I'm just thinking, oh, you bastards. You are... It's just, I know I'm going to, and the thing is, I know that I'm just going to get mercilessly mocked every time I ever bring up memberberries as a negative for anything ever again. I've completely invalidated any criticism I might have. But I still maintain that the whole point is, if you say, for example, like say it was Knight Rider, yeah? And there's a new version of Kit, and the new version of Kit is, you know, all whizzy bang and everyone hates it, and then they have to find a reason to bring old Kit back, you'd be like, yeah, but you're only bringing it back so people could just go, oh look, that's the old Kit. But no, they bring it back because old Kit is old, and that's the reason why it's actually going to work in terms of fixing the plot. And you go, okay, there's a reason for it. You know, I just felt like there was more reason behind. There's more actual script and screenplay and thought going into the things that were being put on screen, rather than just look, Star Destroyers, AT-ATs, X-wings, or look, it's that person from that episode that you remember. It was a lot better than that.
Yeah.
And I feel both elated having watched it and dirty for having enjoyed it, because it goes against everything I've ever gone against. I've been like, no, stop it. And that was that. Like I say, I should have had a written statement to explain it better, and maybe what I might do is at some point, if Darren decides that he wants to talk about it, because I'm sure if he hears this or he gets wind of this, he's going to give me a right old fucking earful after all the shit I've said and dismissing his opinion of it earlier on. But yeah, and so we might do an actual episode about it, not necessarily including you guys, because I can hear from the stony silence it means nothing, and that's fine. But yeah, so we might do something about that. But anyway, and the last thing is just a little behind the scenes, a little thing in look into my actual life, which is, as a lot of you know, if you've been listening to this for a while now, is I don't actually work in an office anymore. What I do is I have all my kit sitting in my parents' house, and I walk there, and I work there, and I can remote work from there because it keeps me out of this house, gets me moving, I get to see mum, all that sort of thing, right? That has its good points, you know. Like I say, keeping my mum company, keeping my work remote from home, all that sort of thing. It also has its bad points. And one of them was today, which is basically sometimes, as people who are retired and, you know, weather's a bit shit, you know, they'll want to do, they get a bit bored. So there I am working. I've been working for 5-6 hours now. And mum's coming. Every now and again, mum will wander past, because my little officey bit is on the way to her kitchen. She'll wander past. She goes, "Oh, we got a dodgy pigeon in the garden." I'm like, "Yeah, okay, fine, carry on."
Dodgy
working.
pigeon.
Yeah,
he looks sus.
Yeah, he does. He looks sus. Dodgy pigeon. So I'm like,
carrying a knife?
Trackies.
Fucking trackies and his hat on backwards. Pair of Nikes.
or is he got like a newspaper with little holes cut out of the newspaper so he can put his little bird eyes through?
And a rain mac and a trilby. Yeah, that's... Anyway, so it's like, oh, okay, fine, okay, no worries. So I carry on working. She comes back. That pigeon hasn't taken off, you know. It's like, okay, fine, okay, carry on working.
Is he a fucking plane? Is he late?
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, okay, fine, carry on working. She goes, I went outside earlier. And I was, oh, right. She goes, that pigeon didn't even move when I went up to it. I'm like, oh, right, okay, fine. Is it alive? And she goes, yeah, it's fine. I've just gave it some seeds. It's just sitting there, just pecking at them. I'm like, oh, right, okay, fine, carry on working. She goes, pigeon's moved under the bush now. Oh, right, okay. Carry on working. Oh, it's walking across the. It's under the tree now. Oh, right, okay. Lee,
Live updates.
Yeah. Lee, yeah. That pigeon still ain't moved. No, Mum. I don't think it's very well. I think it's. Oh, right, okay. Oh, look, Lee. Yeah, it's moved to the rockery. Oh, right, okay. All right. Anyway, so it gets to about 4:30 or so. Right, and I'm going to have to read you this. Right, I decide, and I'm being a little indiscreet here, that I'm going to take a moment I'm going to go to the toilet. I'm going to go for a poo. I'm just gonna have a little break, little me time, little contemplation in the smallest room in the house, right? And then suddenly on my WhatsApp, and I shall read this out. WhatsApp comes on, right? Bad news, pigeon dead, skull face. Bad news, pigeon dead, skull face. 429. I'm like, the fuck is this?
No, that's the title of a black metal album.
So I'm like, oh no, I'll deal with it. I'll deal with it when I'm finished. Next thing, thumbs up emoji. It's like, Jesus, I'm literally just in the toilet, Mum. Just leave me alone. Fucking pigeon's dead. Its problems are over. Mine are still going on. So I come out of the toilet. She comes out. She goes, "Yeah, I went up there. I went up there, and it's face down in the dirt. I gave it a poke with a hoe. It's definitely dead." Oh, right, okay. And then she gives me a fucking black plastic bag. "Oh, you wouldn't put it in the bin for me, will you?" "Yeah, all right, fine." So I've literally, the saga of the pigeon. And there it was. No joking. It was like it was stiff, and it was face down in the dirt. So it's like if you just drew a pigeon, but then angled it at 45 degrees. It looked like someone had made it jump off the roof and it just gone smack into the floor. It was like, it's like when you throw one of those lawn darts. It was just like dump. Oh, right, okay, I'll take care of that pigeon for you, Mum. Cheers. Yeah, so there you go. So that was my week. Pigeon disposal, pigeon update. I mean, I just wish Darren were here, because I'm sure that at this point we'd have an entire skit about pigeons updating and dead pigeons, and I don't know. But the fact of the matter is, pigeon dead. Bad news, pigeon dead. I mean,
skull and crossbones.
Skull and crossbones emoji. Yeah, it's like, cheers for that. All right, cheers, Mum. I mean, that was only like 20 feet away, in the room next to the other room.
She didn't come and knock in then, no?
Well, to be quite honest, I think she would have done, but I think she was still staring at it or poking it with a hoe while in the garden. She probably texted me from the fucking garden, from the death site. And there you go. That's my week. Jedi, hypocrisy, Picard, dead pigeons. What more do you want from a podcast? So, that's my week. I'll leave it there. And let's just quickly move on to some feedback. We did, last week, have one of those weeks where it kind of went off the rails pretty quickly. We had Baldy Walnuts, the superhero. We had Adam Reed, the guy who disconnected Darren's, disconnected his electric. We had the Epic, Epic Scott, who was repairing Darren's electric. We also had, Jim watching Fringe again, which was definitely available on, through reputable sources. We definitely know that for a definite, don't we, Jim?
That's very true.
Exactly. So, just with that context, we watched Triangle of Sadness, and the feedback we had nothing to do with Triangle of Sadness.
Really?
None of it. Nothing at all. We had Chris Johnson, who sent in a lovely picture of Baldy Walnuts, the superhero. So which I think may have been mid-journeyed. But it's on there. It's on the Facebook group. We had Scott Matheson, our Scott up north. Scott of the North, who said, the Profanabard, in fact, who said, "I can honestly state that as the Black Dog's resident Scot from Scotland, I know fuck all about your Letke meter, and I'm not the one who helped Darren." So that's official. It wasn't Scott Matheson. Anyone?
Well, at least we didn't lose all the listeners in Scotland then.
No, we didn't. No. And only the ones not called Scott.
Yeah.
There you go. Martin Thompson came back and said about, I watched Fringe back in the day and really enjoyed it. I remember the first season being okay, but the plot arc really kicked into gear in the second season. Playing Spot the Observer, whatever that is, it was a fun game to do. I'm surprised Elton didn't get into why it's quite similar to the X-Files in many respects. Oh, I'm surprised didn't get into it as it's quite similar to the X-Files. But fair enough, I wouldn't recommend he try Season 2 White Tulip, though, as their take on time travel is basically Back to the Future crossed with Crank as a man tries to turn himself into a human time machine.
God, that sounds awful.
Does, doesn't it? Also, he said about Darren's electricity bill, which is obviously the hot topic on the Facebook group. I used to use an electric top-up card like Darren, although it was via a stick. I had 3 shops in the local area that did it, and only one took cash, one took both cash and card, but charged you extra for the card, and the other used the card up until one of the staff gave me a lecture on how they really didn't make much money from it. So please buy something from the shop if I intend to come from a top-up. Oh, and Fringe is available on Sky Sci-Fi, so if you have Sky or Now TV, it's there. There you go.
Okay.
Thank you very much for that, Martin. And then we also had some positive feedback, like I can't remember the last time I laughed so much. Thanks, guys, from Michael Wilding. And Jeffrey Mark Hyman also said it was a heck of a good time. So come for the film reviews, stay for the epics about recharging your Alecki meter and Baldy Walnuts, the superhero. If anybody else wants to leave any feedback, much like that, then by all means, send us an email over at feedback@blackdogpodcast.com, or if you prefer, go onto the Facebook group, which is facebook.com/groups/theblackdogpodcast, and leave us some messages under the current episode. Or if you want to talk about another episode, you're more than welcome to do that. Right. So, I think we'll wrap it up there. Darren, have you got anything to tell us?
I've found my new obsession.
Oh, right.
Shire horses just walking slowly along a field, pulling a plough.
Right. Okay. Anything else?
I went to the store to get some chips for my family party.
Thanks, Dal. Thank you very much. So there you go. Right. So we'll leave it there. Until then, we'll take a break. We'll roll the jingle, and we'll be back for the man who killed Hitler and then Bigfoot. I'm sure that's
the Bigfoot.
The
Not
Bigfoot.
any old Bigfoot.
Not
The
any old
Bigfoot.
Bigfoot. The Bigfoot.
Mhm.
Yes. Right. Roll the jingle.
Ooh, we're watching a new movie we've never seen before. I'm buttering my nipples and waxing my ass. Roll up the Mystery Monica film. Roll up for the Mystery Monica film. Roll up
Masturbation.
for the Mystery Monica film. Roll up for the Mystery Monica film. The Mystery Monica film is waiting for us to hit play. Going to watch it today. What will we say?
Right. So, The Man Who Killed Hitler and Then the Bigfoot is a 2018 American adventure drama film. Written and co-produced and directed by Robert D. Krasowski in his feature debut. It stars Sam Elliott, Aidan Turner, Larry Miller, Ron Livingston, and Caitlin Fitzgerald. The film debuted at Fantasia Film Festival in Canada, where it premiered on July 20th, 2018. And it had executive producer Douglas Trumbull, who did all those lovely effects for all those lovely films such as Star Trek Motion Picture and Blade Runner and all those things. None of which has any bearing on this because he's an exec producer and did none of the effects in this film. So I don't even know why I mentioned it. the basic plot is, oh God, how can I put this as a basic plot? Yeah.
Tricky.
It is tricky. Yeah, it's the story of Calvin Barr, played by Aidan Turner and Sam Elliott, who is a recluse, once legendary assassin for the U.S. government, whose task it was to kill Hitler and almost change the course of World War II, and is asked to come back for retirement for one final top-secret mission, to track down and eliminate a Bigfoot, or the Bigfoot, that has become infected with a deadly disease that could spread to other creatures if it remains on the loose in the forest for too long. Yeah. There's nothing else in the wiki at all of any note, apart from production took place filming in Western Massachusetts, and one critical response, which I'm not going to read out here, and the box office. No actual cost of how much it cost to make. So, do you want to take a guess at how much it cost to make, Elton?
I'm going to go serious. I'm going to say 30 million.
Okie dokie. Jim?
I'd say 25 million scratch cards found in the street.
Oh,
Nice. I would have said a pile of sticks and a burning Bigfoot, but actually it was the box office was a grand total of $3,822.
I know what happened there.
Yeah,
Short release before award season.
yeah, short release
And or COVID.
Well, actually, it was released in 2018, so it was a bit before COVID. Yeah, short release before being snagged up by our friends at Amazon.
was that like a day release? Was it? Jeez.
I don't know. I don't really know. I have no further details, which is kind of curious. Yeah. So there's not much in the trivia to give it away either.
Mm-hmm.
So apart from the fact it was shot in 25 days, and 12 years for Robert Krasowski, to get this movie made, and he has done nothing else since.
Really? Is that one and done, is it?
Well, he worked on a short called Elsie Hooper, which he wrote and directed and produced. And he produced two other things called Paradise Falls and The Woman.
Okay.
But he has done nothing since that movie came out. So that movie literally is where his career stopped.
Okay.
So take that to be as you will. Take that as you will. That's all I'm saying. So let's go around the table. Let's see what everyone thought about this. Elton, it'll be you, then me, and then because it was Jim's pick, it'll be Jim. So, Elton, what did you think of this film?
Well, the film that has the title The Man Who Killed Hitler and Then the Bigfoot has a lot to live up to.
Mm-hmm.
It either needs to be absolutely batshit. It belongs in our batshit crazy season month.
Yeah.
Or there has to be an epic subplot tale to it.
Mm.
Unfortunately, this film did neither.
Mm.
And I was confused through it because you had this wonderful tale, which you had three stories going on at the same time, and weaving them together was, I don't know, some blind seamstress that wasn't able to weave these things together. It just didn't seem to work for me. It was too much carrying on just that title. I can you can't have a film like this and then not with a title like this and then not live up to it, and it didn't live up to that. Unfortunately, if you don't call it the man who killed Hitler and then the Bigfoot,
Mm.
and then have a journey of a man killing Hitler and then the Bigfoot, then you're like, well, what the fuck is this film about?
Yeah. Well, yeah,
So
I get it. Yep.
it tries to go big and doesn't go home, but it does look really good. There are some amazing shots in this, especially the one with the fire. Just the fire in the silhouette. It's like, oh, that's really good.
Yeah.
But I'm afraid this one didn't really strike with me.
Yeah. Okie dokie. Yeah, I've got to kind of go with the same idea. I think the thing was, and I was actually got that down as a note, that there was 3 films here, and what this film really needed was a really, really good editor. I think that's the key to this film, because for me, I was willing for it to work. I wanted it to be good. I wanted to engage with it either as a drama about loss and isolation and, and looking back on past glories, or looking at a sort of lost, a life lost to the war, or the story, or a sort of Unforgiven style story of a legend, and people come looking for the legend but find just a man.
Mm-hmm.
The problem was that all those stories were there, but the way it was mixed together was just dumbfounding in places. And I'll get more into it when we get into the spoilers. But there was one very key moment where I just went, oh, right, okay. And that's that, is it? And I know I shouldn't have been feeling that. I should have been thinking about the rest of the film going around, but the problem was it was the pacing was thrown off by the bad editing. I think this film was a film that could have been built in the edit, and with a good editor, with a strong thread of sort of placing flashbacks and whatnot in through the film. I won't get into it too much because we're not in spoiler zone yet, but it could have been actually a very solid film. I think the problem was it was a mishmash of ideas that weren't properly, as you say, blind seamstress. It wasn't properly stitched together. So for me, it collapsed because of that.
Mm-hmm.
And I would have taken the outlandish stuff and the drama stuff and the flashback stuff and the war stuff and, crazy fucking Bigfoot vomiting everywhere. If it had just been sort of someone had sat there and gone, right, okay, let's cut this film up, put it all in an edit suite, and let's just jiggle it about until it actually narratively flows.
Yeah, knitted it together a bit better.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's my general gist of it. What about you, Jim? Because I know you haven't seen this film either.
No, well, this is I knew nothing about it. I knew it wasn't like a Sharknado or sort of schlock fest. I knew it was, which you would think from the title it would be one of those sort of really, haha, we're making it so bad it's good sort of film. But I didn't find anything else about it even after I picked it. So I went in this sort of blind, and I think I enjoyed it more than you guys, but it was kind of almost willfully obtuse.
Yes.
And I picked up on the kind of the pacing and the way that they're putting the flashbacks together is really weird. There's some brilliant crossfades, though, kind of how you get from one time frame to another.
Oh, God,
with some very nice visual things. But it did seem to sort of like forget it's kind of, oh, yeah, we're telling another story. Hang on.
Yeah.
In places. But having said that, I did make it unpredictable. And I always say any film that can blindside me and I don't know what's coming next. That it's got something. It's got something, because frankly, too many films are just embarrassingly predictable. Thanks to I blame film schools myself, actually.
Yeah.
You taught formula screenwriting, and it's kind of... No, this is why I enjoy a lot of things from the 70s and the 60s, where people, before this kind of, you have to write it this way, had crept in. This story is kind of, it just felt oddly weighted. I enjoyed it, but it was a bumpy ride when I look back on it. You know what I mean?
No. That's exact. That's probably where I was. But like I say, I just don't think I had enough connection to enjoy it. I just kind of sat there and watched it, and it was kind of like, come on, you're willing it to just slot that piece in place. Anyway, before we go any further, obviously everyone's said their little piece there. You get the general gist of what we thought. If you want to know more and you don't mind it being spoiled, then go forward. Here be dragons going forward. But if you don't want to know anything about it, just stop right here and then come back once you've seen the film. It's on Amazon Prime, and like I say, it's worth a look to know what we're talking about, because it's a unique film, I think is probably safe to say. And as Jim says, anything that can blindside you because you don't know what you're getting is probably at least worth 5 minutes on your eyes. Yes, we're gonna do the get the lighthouse up. Hold on, where are we? Right. Okay, so here we go.
Will you fucking speak up?
There you go. Right, so that's the spoiler zone. That's the spoiler zone. You got anything else, Darren?
Try not to watch things that are depressing.
Right, okay, thanks very much. Right.
That's a good rule.
That is a good rule. That is a good rule. So, okay, so here we are in the spoiler zone. Anyone going further forward, you've been warned. Can't complain any further. Right, so... I mean, let's start. I mean, I guess the problem is where did you think it was going? Because, I mean, firstly, we're all on the same page. I think it was beautifully shot. I think it was nicely done with some of the crossfades and the intercutting between time zones and all that kind of stuff. So I think we're all on the same page with that, right?
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
Cool. And we're okay with the performances. Is there anything you want to... Just because I think if we're all starting from the same place, we can kind of look at everything else. You know what I mean?
I think Sam Elliott in this is brilliant, no matter what he's doing. Whether it be drunk in a bar or just sitting quietly petting a dog or rocking around a mountain with Bigfoot.
Yes.
It's all brilliant. He's so brooding that I could just watch him just mull over things for an hour and a half.
Yeah.
I think his performance is brilliant.
Just sitting there doing this thing. I can't do his voice, but he's got that real kind of growl.
Yeah.
Yeah. But cool. Okay. Cool. And I like I say, I think all the other actors, Aidan Turner and all the others were all pretty good, with the exception of the G-men, who I thought were as camp and weird as fucking as stilted as nonsense. And I think,
hang on, who are the G-men?
The FBI guy.
Oh, Ron Livingston.
Yeah, and the Canadian guy.
Oh, okay, yeah.
The Canadian Fed, and that bit was played for giggles. Do you think? Because it was so weird and odd. How would you think about those two? Just because I just think that out of all the acting and all the filming and everything, that scene around that table, which should have a lot more impact, was just those two sitting there going, "What? I don't understand. Me French. Me no understanding the lingo." Just Jim.
No, they were a bit weird. Really, they didn't fit the tone of the rest of the film. They were the wrong sort of quirky.
Yeah.
And I think the thing with the lead guy and hearing the stories, that sets up the big thing of. I think this is kind of a comment that I was trying to make about stories in general, because he says the reality is not what you want to be. It's not the comic book you think it is.
Mm.
And that could be the tagline for this movie.
Yes, I think so. Yeah, that's very true. Sorry, Elton, you were going to say something?
Well, you said that they didn't fit the tone. Maybe they were supposed to be the tone of the movie, and the editing, and it was meant to go along that sort of lines. Look at the Bigfoot. It was clearly supposed to be a bit campy in places.
Was it though?
In places.
Okay. I mean, it didn't strike me as campy. I thought they tried to do as much as they could to make it horrific and grim and. I mean, did you get that vibe, Jim?
Well, I was kind of like, I felt they were going to seem a bit more sort of realistic, and it does look a bit goofy in the first few looks at it. You get at it. But when he's actually wounded it and you get a good look at it, you realise, oh, I can see what they're doing there. It's almost got like a hark back to Dead Pigeon. Skull face.
Yeah.
Skull face. What do you think, Mr. Skullface? Yeah. Okay. Well, that's just interesting because I got the sense from seeing that, I just thought, oh, they're trying to go for the horror angle. And to me, that was kind of like, okay, so there's not really going for campy with that. They're just going for sort of like the horror side of things, just make it look a bit grim, and so he's facing off against something, pretty hardcore. But
That's
anyway,
weird because I didn't get that at all.
No, obviously, I guess I'm on my own with that one.
Well, no, I felt with the Bigfoot, they were going with something like realistic. That it did look like some kind of unknown orangutan. Something of that ilk, rather than the usual Harry and the Hendersons, you know what I mean, cartoon Bigfoot. And I think in the early stages, they're very much playing as kind of, he's got to kill this, he doesn't want to, he has issues, and then, he kills it and he goes up with it when he's supposedly dying, and, you think this is another kind of just pointless death, you know what I mean, it's supposedly necessary, but... It feels green. You actually feel bad for the Bigfoot until it gets up and is an absolute cunt. And you think, oh, fuck you. But you know what I mean? Then it is kind of like, you get an even better look and you go, oh, geez, it's an ugly fucker. Yeah. Inside and out. It's actually a nasty piece of work. Bollocks to it.
Yeah. Bigfoot dead. Bad news, Bigfoot dead, Skullface.
Mom, I'm on the toilet.
Mom, I'm having a shit. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. Okay, fine. I got the thought that they were going for something a bit more grim and dark, but okay, fair enough. So let's get into it. I mean, the thing that obviously is the bumpy ride is the editing. And so how would you have framed this film? And I know that sounds like we're not really reviewing the film, but in fact going, what would you have done to make a film like this? Which isn't really a review. It's more just sort of saying, how would you fix it? Which isn't really the case. It's just like, because I've got so many things going through my head, like why so many odd choices they make with the time frame.
Do you know, I think I would lose all the stuff in all the flashbacks.
All of them?
Yeah. And just have his story, and just have this mysterious story of this guy who did this thing. Legend had it that he did this, but it's not quite proven. But there are whispers. And you get the tellings of what he did, but all the relationship that he had with his girlfriend, remove that from it. Because that's where I found that it most stop-start. It right. Felt like a real clunky gear change going back to that. And okay, right now we need to go through the relationship that we have. And it just didn't quite work for me, and so I would remove all of that. Wait, I would have the assassination definitely, and then nowadays and how he's living his life, and then being called up, but I think you would lose at least 30 minutes of just the relationship stuff, which I felt was a bit of dead weight.
Right, Jim, what's your take on
that? It's one of those. The more I think about it, the more I think kind of I'd need to see it again, because I think a certain amount is the film wrong-footing you, and as you watch it, you're not sure what sort of film this is and which way it's going to go. I think now, having took the ride and going back on it again, I suspect some of the editorial decisions might make more sense.
Right,
a second time around. But it did feel, I don't know, I can't put my finger on what I'd move where, but I think it was more the pacing of it. It seemed to do like a couple of short flashbacks, and it'll settle somewhere, and it kind of just felt a bit kind of offbeat.
Yeah.
Musically offbeat, you know what I mean? Kind of slightly off key, maybe a better way of putting it.
Yeah, I think the problem really was, and the more I think about it now, the more I'm kind of the opinion that it needed more time, which seems really odd because the film does take its merry old time with just Sam Elliott just wandering around town being like, I'm not going to say nothing to nobody. I'm just going to sit there and stare at the wall, stare at the box, stare at the wall.
But it rushes in places as well.
Yeah, and then it.
So I wonder if there's like a 2-hour cut of this, and it was the distributor said, no, maybe a bit shorter, please.
Yeah, it's too weird. It's too weird for a longer film. People won't sit through it, and I kind of understand that decision making, but to me that's its downfall, because you have the brother Larry Clark, played by Larry Clark, who literally does a massive exposition dump towards the end when we're at the funeral, and it's like, really? Could we have not seen this in the flashbacks that you were sort of showing? You were showing us the start of the relationship, the kind of midpoint of the relationship, some really awkward moments in the relationship, and then all of a sudden it's like she moved off and she went overseas to another country or to another town or something. She never came back. She never got over him. He never got over her, and she died real young. Really? So why not show us that? Because that was obviously kind of the key thing driving all of this. Do you know what I mean? It's like,
no, I mean, I think it's when it sort of finished. I don't feel it ended abruptly, but I did felt, I'd have sat through another half an hour of just going where this film's going to go. I'd have, quite happily, do you say, do you want to do the barn ad with that, sir? Yes, please. I would.
Yeah.
I mean, some of the things, I did like a couple of the things that I know probably some people find abrupt, but I like that kind of, going to kill Bigfoot? Not really. Oh, maybe I will. And then bang, there we are, I'm in the forest. Where's Bigfoot? Bang, you fucker. And it's kind of, thank God we didn't have a training montage.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of, I'm on one hand, I'm with you with that. On the other hand, that was probably the moment where I lost patience with it, if I'm honest, because I'll be perfectly honest with you. The big build up. Oh, you got to save the world from Bigfoot. And you get that lovely shot of him standing against the forest, and the forest's on fire at the fire break, and all this kind of thing. You think, all right, here we go. We're going to go for a sort of like an Arnie Predator thing. And literally the very next scene, he's standing there against the fire break, about to go into the forest. The hard cuts, and you immediately see the Bigfoot get a bullet through the head.
Yeah.
It's like,
it was too quick for me.
It was just like, what the fuck was that? No going into the forest, no walking through the forest trying to pick up the trail, no hunting it down, no wondering where it could be, no tension, no nothing. It was just like, there's the Bigfoot dead. Oh, okay.
Well, you had scenes of once he'd shot it and he was trying to track it then, and then he was going through like the shit that he'd done. Oh, he's a vegetarian. And so we're supposed to feel for it then. Go, well, why are we killing this thing? He's a vegetarian. We shouldn't be killing that. That is normally him learning where it is and hunting it down for the very first time. Not he's already shot it and then he's hunting it again.
Yeah.
That is the stuff that you build up to it. But that was such a quick transition. That was too much for me. That was way too quick because you got all this. Do I go out there? I don't know. Do I go hunting? I don't want to go anywhere. I'm going to phone you. I'm going to phone you at night. Shall I go? No. And you got an hour of that, and then all of a sudden, I'll go quickly. Okay, that gun, that scope, that knife. Right, here we go. Bang, shot him. Whoa, hang on. We're supposed to be building up to this.
Yeah, I agree. I think at that point I just was like, oh, come off it. And it did, and that's when I started to notice, like you say, the stuff with the checking the sort of animal poo, the blood markings, all these kind of things. It suddenly occurred to me that this was edited out of sequence. Or if it wasn't, it certainly felt like it. And it was like, no, it feels like the editor's gone tits up here. The editor's wandered off and got these clips out of order, because this is the stuff you should be seeing before he finds the thing and fights it and kills it and then doesn't kill it and double bluff and all this kind of thing.
I think you've got an amazingly weird movie here where you go from World War II assassination and then to hunting stuff in the forest. That's such a transition and such a good idea as well. But it seems like it's lost a lot of it in either on the cutting room floor or through bad and poor choices. But there is a lot missing there when there is also a lot of him just tying his shoelaces. Yeah.
Well, how are you feeling about that, Jim?
Well, it depends what kind of film you want it to be. That's the thing, isn't it?
Yeah, I guess. But I guess that comes back to the thing I was saying at the beginning. It was like there are three. There's essentially three or four films here, isn't there? There's his life and times. You know, there's the kind of like the hidden hero living a life that will never have a story that's never been told. And it could be a Shaggy Dog story. It could be a Walter Mitty type thing, couldn't it? It's like sitting there in the bar, telling the barman how his life went and how he killed a Bigfoot and then how he killed Hitler and all these kind of things. But really telling the story about how all of these amazing things he would give up for in a heartbeat because he lost the love of his life. Which is essentially the story, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. But it doesn't go for the Shaggy's dog story. What it does, it kind of shows you the Hitler assassination almost pretty much within like 15 minutes of the film starting, and then goes for 90 odd, 100 odd minutes of, as you say, Elton, him just wandering about, occasionally having flashbacks to various points in his life with his potential wife. But the thing is, the things he's remembering don't really tell you the story. They don't even let you in on sort of like the narrative sort of order until you see like the brother handing the dinosaur to him, or her sort of saying, "Oh, you've got to go off to war, so I'll be here waiting for you." And then it cuts back to him as Sam, cut back to him with his, Aidan Turner with his moustache reading all the papers.
Mm-hmm.
And realising that she waited for him for X amount of years, and then eventually he came back and she's gone.
Yeah. And he also does that thing with that box as well.
Yeah, the box is okay, we'll come on in, let's go for the trite question. What do you think's in the box?
I don't know. Okay.
I think it was just the ring.
Was it just the ring?
There's probably all sorts of other stuff in it as well, other mementos. But that's the important one, or the important one at this point for him.
Yeah, because I kept getting the sense that we were looking at a pistol, a service pistol.
I reckon it's just dog collars. Lots of little dog collars that he's had dogs all the way through the years, and just collected their collars, and it's just a box full of them.
Okay, I don't know. I mean, it was
At first I thought, it'd be the gun he killed Hitler with, but as you see, that isn't the case.
He left it on the table.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the incredibly devious sticker belt, a belt and a cigarette lighter and a bottle of scotch together, and you make yourself a nice little pistol.
Done before as well.
Yes, as
Scaramanga.
Oh, of course.
Man with the golden gun. They're a very similar setup.
Yes, that's true. No, that's very true. I completely forgot about that.
Yeah, I was man with the golden gun.
Yeah,
I know he's doing. Yes.
Yeah.
I honestly really don't know what was in the box. It was just one of them. It's the Pulp Fiction thing again, isn't it? It's there just to be there for you to think about something,
to wonder about it. Yeah,
and I'll be honest, I didn't really care for what was in that box. I think Pulp Fiction makes you wonder because they make such a song and dance about it, and you're like, I really do wonder what is in there. This magical thing which just lights up, and it's I'm drawn to it. I want to know. But this was just, do you know what? Tomorrow's another day. I'll look at it another day. Really? You've just dug up your own. That must be a weird thing as well. Digging your own grave up. That's got to be a weird feeling.
I think so. Yeah.
I should be in here, shouldn't I?
that is very odd.
It's my grave. I can dig it up. If someone stops me, you've got to get out of jail free card.
That is very true. Actually,
if someone comes along here, I'll just say, "Well, I was coming out for the night."
Yeah, it's the old joke, isn't it? He's sort of like going, he sees someone bloke walking through the graveyard, and he sees someone chipping out a headstone, and he goes, "What are you doing in the middle of the night, chipping out a headstone?" And the bloke goes, "He spelt my name wrong." Anyway, I take what you're saying about what sort of film you were expecting. I get that, Jim. Okay, what sort of film were we expecting? I guess is the question. I mean, gonzo, mental, bondo, doodah, nutso movie.
I think so. Going off the actual title itself, it has to be so over the top and bombastic. It's unbelievable. I'm not expecting whizzy bangy things or anything like that, but when you put Hitler in the title, that has certain connotations, and then you're killing. Okay, so you're now changing history, or what we think is changing history.
Yeah.
And so there's a massive story there.
And
then to throw Bigfoot on it, you're like, okay, well, how do we get from that incredible change of history to this mythical creature?
Well, yeah, I guess that's the question. Jim, what were you then expecting then? Because, I mean, that is the big question, isn't it? People say, oh, you can't criticize the film for being what it's not. Because that's what I'm saying right now. It's like you can't criticize it for being what it's not. But on the other hand, if you put that sort of shit right front and center, what are people supposed to expect?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think that is playing a big game, because I think the big important plot point is kind of, I think that it's when he has his speech and you realise this isn't, say, like that Tarantino movie where you're actually in a parallel timeline.
Oh God!
Where Hitler can be killed and has been killed. It's actually this is our timeline, and it did happen. But that's the kicker. He said, I just killed a man.
Yeah, not an idea.
It didn't make a difference. And I think giving the film that title, and again that other line as well I quoted where he's saying, it's not the comic book you think it is. I think this film is very knowingly giving itself that sort of title to actually just
wrong with the audience.
As a wall is going to bounce balls off, basically.
Yeah.
So I would like to see it again. So now knowing what sort of movie it is. I mean, I knew it wasn't going to be a trauma film or an asylum sort of affair. But I thought it's probably going to be like there's a few. It's very hard to categorize, but there's a few sort of films that came out like in the 90s, like Johnny Suede, where basically you have one weird thing that happens.
Yeah.
But the actual film is very, very grounded and very mundane and real, and that's sort of the point. And I was in the right ballpark, but still the way the film played out, I really wasn't sure where it was going for a
good long while.
For a while, until I sort of hit the rhythm of it a bit. But it's one of those, it's kind of watching it again, whether I go, oh yeah, I get that more, or I go, yeah, you're being willfully obtuse actually with some of these edits just to be clever. You know what I mean? And quote, subvert expectations a bit.
Yes.
A bit too nakedly, shall we say. You want to see the exciting stuff, but look at him, he's doing his shoes.
Yeah.
Instead. And you go, you can do that. I mean, but it all has to add up and be properly weighted. And so kind of, I'm not entirely sure it maybe would be. I think it might be trying to be too clever for its own good.
Yeah. I mean, I mean, just sort of, I know we're going over old ground now, but for me, I think the problem I had was I saw the film that it was supposed to be. And I know that, you can have willfully obtuse editing. You can do that by just, I mean, bloody hell, Pulp Fiction is an entire film built off of obtuse editing. I mean, you can do that, absolutely, and there's nothing to say you can't. But the problem I have is, if you're going to do that, at least do the editing. I tell you what, it's the same as the first season of The Witcher. Have you seen that?
No.
Okay, well, the thing with The Witcher in the first season is that all the episodes are, in terms of timeline, they are out of order. And, it's there to kind of be like, episode 1 is like a flashback, and then episode 2 is like a flash forward, and episode 3 is like a flashback, but you don't know. It's only when you get to the last 2 or 3 episodes and everything comes together and you go, oh, so that bit happened before this bit and this bit happened before that bit. And a lot of people, myself included, just went, oh, fuck off. And, and that's, that's fine. If you either go with it or you don't. And I personally didn't. I like the show in and of itself, but I don't like that kind of nonsense, that fucking about. And this film did that. It was kind of like, I know you're supposed to have like, middle act, this sort of thing. But if you look at something like, for example, Inception, which tells you the story of what happens to Leonardo DiCaprio's wife and why she's now some kind of weird ghostly presence in his dreams. But it does it in flashbacks, but the flashbacks themselves are in time order. Do you know what I mean? So you kind of get the flashbacks have their own narrative, sort of beginning, middle, and end, and then the dream stuff has its own beginning, middle, and end, and then the bracketing main story has its own beginning, middle, and end, but they're all progressing in the same direction. Whereas this film had the story of Sam Elliott sort of in the modern day before he's recruited to be, hunt the Bigfoot. And it's kind of progressing in a sort of fairly linear sort of drama way. But the flashbacks start in the middle of the story, then jump to the end of the story, then jump to the beginning of the story, then jump to the midpoint of the story.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And and the flashbacks themselves hop around in such a weird way that you can't, and then they don't correspond to anything that's going on the screen in the present. And I think
some of them, I mean, I said again, I'd have to see it again, but some of them was kind of, there was something that reminded him of that particular memory. And that's why your flashbacks are out of the sequence, because it is kind of following him in real time, and as he remembers these things that come up, if you see what I mean.
Yeah.
But as I said before, it felt the rhythm of the film was a bumpy ride. I think these sort of films where you are cutting between different timelines, there's a sort of a rhythm to the narrative. If you know what I mean, like here's this bit, here's this bit, here's that bit, here's this bit. Whereas this didn't have that flow.
No,
it was really stop, start, run, go.
Yeah.
You know, it was like playing Simon Says with a maniac.
Yes.
And, you know, I don't mind a bit of a cinematic ride, not knowing where I'm going and a film throwing me. But as I said, kind of how much that is just being willfully bloody obtuse.
Yeah, exactly.
For the sake of not following the, you know, I totally get you don't want to. The audience should be able to see until in looking back in hindsight where the three acts were.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean, you've got to really get the flows in, you know, not have that rigid structure I was bitching about earlier, you know.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you can take it too far.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. It's not so much the rigid structure needs to be in a, you know, start, middle, end. I get that. I mean, like I say,
you can play with that, but you have to do it in
a logical fashion.
Yeah, yeah. It has to be some sort of like a narrative progression. You know what I mean? Or you can hop on and go on the ride. If you know what I mean, with it, rather than it dragging you around and giving you whiplash.
Yes, I think that's absolutely right, and I think the bit, like I say, the bit that I lost patience with, which was literally just, oh look, there's the Bigfoot, bang, he's dead. Oh right, right. So this whole build up meant nothing, and so was just a red herring, utterly. I mean, you know, to all intents and purposes, was pointless, but there because of the story title.
Well, you could have that situation, or the same with Hitler and him being killed, and Sam Elliott saw it was just a man that he killed, but the world saw it as something completely different and something way beyond his scope that he saw with him just in a room with a man. And once again, he's isolated with this Bigfoot. And he just sees it as just killing another animal, another man or beast. It's just another death. And he doesn't want to do it.
Yeah.
Whereas the world outside will see this, and it once again, it won't see him eradicating the problem. The world will see what the victors want them to see.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so he's having that moment of okay, well, I don't really want to do that. Yeah, then he gets sideswiped, but you can't blame it for trying to fight for its life, can you?
No, I mean, but that again, that's all stuff that should be there. And you should be following that train of thought through the film. But you're not following that train of thought through the film because the film itself is scattershotting those kind of things all over the place.
Well, what does the film want us to follow then? Does it want us to follow... Is the Hitler and the Bigfoot stuff superfluous to actual story of his story growing up and losing his love of his life? Is that the story that it wants us to follow?
I mean... Jim, do you want to take that? But I have my theory, but go on. You go.
Well, so I think that's, in a way, Hitler and Bigfoot are important to the story, but only in the sense of what they've meant to him. and what they mean to the world, and the gap between those two.
They're essentially the same
Hitler,
thing, though, aren't they?
Well, they're kind of mirror images, because the thing is, like, Hitler, he went around, he killed a man. In the end, neither side saw the advantage in saying someone killed Hitler. It won't change the war at that point. Everyone's in too deep.
Yeah.
And so, and the Nazism continues even to this day. You know what I mean? You can't you can kill the man, but you can't kill his words, as he says. And his ideas keep going on.
Yeah.
However, with the Bigfoot, though, this is something that nobody knows about. You know what I mean? It's kind of, but allegedly he has this like contagion, and you know what I mean. And so it's kind of I think that's a mirror image, because this is where everyone knew about Hitler, but no one knew he died. But it's kind of no one knows about Bigfoot until the suddenly found, oh yeah, we had to shoot it.
Yeah.
And whether anyone even know that, Bigfoot had been shot, I imagine they just probably hushed up. So,
well, no, because
the idea that
does
in that scenario, you could see he has saved people, whereas he accomplished something, whereas with Hitler, he didn't.
Yeah, I mean, I read it. The whole thing was, what does a man sacrifice, and to what goal? Because that to me was the point, that he, if you follow it through in a narrative, straight line, he has this hat shop, he meets this girl, he's fallen in love with her, but then he feels that he needs to go off to war, and he goes off to war, he's drafted in, it costs him, and he does an amazing thing. What he's doing a thing, regardless of what it is. The Hitler thing is kind of a hand wave, but he does, and it's symbolic of, how many thousands of people who did some amazing heroic thing during the war and sacrificed everything to basically get a shrug when they got back, because somebody else had done other things and other people had done other things, and everyone was numb to the war. So, the Hitler bit is a kind of a red herring, and and that, if you follow that side of the story, you go, right, okay, so this is a story about a man who sacrifices everything for the greater good. Yarp. And he does that, and it essentially, he's not recognised for it, nobody cares, and he's lost everything. And then he's drafted back into service, and again, he does something for no thanks whatsoever, and it costs him again, in theory, his life. Yeah? And that, to me, if you take that as the narrative, if you put all those pieces in the right order, the Bigfoot and the Hitler thing, complete red herrings.
Yeah.
But the problem is, that's a fine story, but the narrative jiggery-pokery with the fucking weird editing adds nothing to it. It's a pretty straightforward story, in my opinion. It's a pretty straightforward story of what will someone sacrifice and what will they lose, and what, for little or no recognition, for the greater good. The greater good. And sorry, I can't get past that. And
you have to say it.
You have to say that, and you have to go yarp at the end. So to me, that's what it's about. But does it being Hitler that he kills, or the Bigfoot that he kills, make any difference? No. Does it matter that that it was during World War II, or if it was Vietnam War, or if it was people going into the jungle to find, terrible diseases to cure, or,
No, I think the object is that it is a significant thing for the world, but not for him. It is just man against man there, and man against beast in the second act. But it's a thing that the world sees.
Yeah.
Rather than what he sees.
Yeah, exactly. And so it's like, to me, that's the big problem. Is you got this whole thing of, why? How can I put it? Why do it in that way? I guess is probably the point. Why?
I guess the man needs the journey. He definitely needs a journey. We need to see. Do we need to see him break down though? That's the thing. And that's where I could have done without all the love of his life disappearing.
No, but I think the love of his life disappearing is the thing he loses. That is the sacrifice he makes at the start.
Yeah. I mean, that is the,
and then
the G-man said, your service runs deep. Yeah, it did. It cost him.
Cost him his
thing
entire...
he was holding on to get through the war, really.
And so that's the thing. It's like, how is this any different than, like, I don't know, Full Metal Jacket, or Born on the 4th of July, or any number of other, or The Deer Hunter, or any number of movies where someone goes off to war, comes back a changed person, or has lost everything because they have sacrificed something for the war. It's like, okay, well, we'll do it slightly differently. He killed Hitler, and it made no difference. Okay, well, that's interesting. But then you throw the Bigfoot in there, and you're throwing this campy stuff at you, and then going for this arty kind of edit style. And really, fundamentally, beyond the edit, it's a pretty straightforward story that could have been told without the schlocky B movie title.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? And I think that's where my patience kind of went with it. It's kind of like, if you're gonna make it like Predator or Rambo or fucking, or Inglourious Bastards, or go schlocky, fine, go schlocky. If you're gonna make it a serious study of loss in service of your country, or loss, in service of an ideal, sacrifice, all that kind of thing, fine, make a sacrifice movie. If you want to blend them together, again, brilliant. As you say, Jim, we don't need fucking film school pumping out the same shit in the same order all the time forever.
No.
But if you're going to do that, you at least have to have some narrative conventions where you actually understand the fucking plotting and don't have to have someone at the very end explain everything at a funeral's bedside.
Yeah.
That's where my brain kind of just went, no, that's it, I'm done. Clunk. When the brother's standing there literally saying, yeah, he lost the love of his life, she moved away, she died young, he came back and she was never there, and he didn't find out that she died until much later. It's like, really? We could have done with knowing all of that to give it emotional weight in the film.
Yeah, that's just setting up, isn't it?
Mm.
It's again, it goes back to that Inception thing. If you never found out what happened to Leonardo DiCaprio's wife, and you had no idea why her ghost keeps appearing in the dreams, then the impact of her turning up and what she represents completely goes out the window. If you didn't understand why she died and the fact that he left, the stakes for him returning back to his kids and that quote-unquote twisty ending, again, would mean nothing. And it's the same thing here. If you don't know these things, if you're not presented those things until literally the last scenes, you're like, oh, tell me that midway through, tell me that at the beginning. I might have bought more into it.
Mm-hmm.
But you go through all this time of watching Sam Elliott just wandering around town being generally morose, and you think, why? And you don't really get it. And even the flashbacks aren't the right flashbacks, if you know what I mean. She kind of leaves and writes him some letters in the flashbacks. And then what?
Yeah.
Am I? Do you think I'm being unfair, Jim? I mean, I'm not.
Well, I put it all together by the time the funeral scene. The funeral just gave me the the actual details, but it was obvious that
that she'd left.
That she was left, and you know that's why he's like he is, and that you know what it's cost him personally for this strange, absurd, bizarre thing he's done that should be amazing, and is actually just turned out to be rubbish on every level for everybody.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. I mean, yeah, and then like I say, and then my patience ran out when it was just like 30 seconds of, wow, he's going to go find the Bigfoot. There it is, bang. Oh, all right then.
You guys both mentioned about it being quite realistic, and I poo-pooed it as being a bit campy, and I didn't mean to like be offensive when I said that, but I took it as it was being way over the top and a bit silly with like the vomiting and stuff, and the way the vomiting was done. I think if it had been a bit more serious when it had done it, I would have taken it a bit more seriously. But when you see it and it's just off and just offset, and we all know it's not coming out of his mouth; it's coming out of a tube next to his mouth. Yeah, but you can see that, and that's what I mean by what I said. But I
don't worry about that. Don't worry, we weren't offended by that. Is anyone offended by you saying camp?
No,
I mean the idea of a camp monster.
When it threw up on him, both me and Teresa, and he fell off the sofa laughing.
Yeah, me too.
It was the last thing I expected.
Yeah. It suddenly became the sort of Peter Jackson movie I was expecting all along.
But I think that's a very realistic reaction. It's fight or flight, isn't it? It's just throw whatever you've got at that person so you don't are not killed. And I think there are some shots where it could go into the horror realm. That bit where you have the Bigfoot and it's got its hand up in the silhouette pose, and he's walking up with the gun, and he's going, "Didn't want to do this," and you're like, "Oh, that looks really, really good and really powerful." Unfortunately, there are scenes where it's a man in a suit, which really it's the other end of the scale, which I didn't want to see.
Yeah, I can usually put up with a man in a suit. I mean, fucking hell, I love Alien. I mean, it looks lovely until you sort of pan out and see it fall out of a door, and it's clearly a man in a suit with a rubber hose attached to his head. But I can deal with man in suit. I just what I can't deal with is man in suit, and I don't care. I think that's it. If I have no emotional engagement, that's the end of it. It could be a man in a suit, or it could be the best CGI creation ever made and never committed to celluloid. If I don't give a shit, the game's over. Yeah, it's the same as animatronics. You look at the Dark Crystal. I'm not a fan of Dark Crystal. I admire the designs, so when I watch it, I go, "Wow, looks really good." Don't care.
They spend half hour trying to work out how do they do that.
Yeah.
How did the bear in the big blue house move his other arm?
Yeah, exactly. The bear in a big blue dong.
Don't go there.
Now there's
I've never seen that version.
There's a callback to episode 6 of the original Black Dog. Anyway. Right. Anyway, does anybody have anything else additional to add? Because I'm kind of feeling like I'm kind of going over the same old, and I don't want to be the one to do that. So you've got,
yeah, Jim, I think you're right. In not every film needs to be cut from the same cloth. It's like people driving on sat navs. You'll always end up going the same way as the other person with the sat nav. And there's a queue because people are following their sat navs and creating these queues. So I get that, because you end up with the same result again and again if you follow the film school thing. And so I appreciate a movie which doesn't go down that road. But yeah, there was something else I was going to say, but it's totally popped out my head, so I will leave it at that until I remember it.
Yeah. Jim, we've been ragging on it. I mean, you got anything you would like to give on the positive side? Because I feel like for the last 35 minutes, all I've done is just go, rah, 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 no.
The thing is, it's beautifully performed. Lovely cinematography, great performances. There are some very good scenes in here. You know what I mean? I think it's a film. Again, I want to watch it again at some point. Not too soon. Just let my memory fade a little and go back into it. And then I'll decide on whether the narrative chopping is justified or not, or whether it's less of an issue second time around. Even. But it's one of those. It's kind of. I'm quite glad I've seen it. I'll probably say I will watch it again. So that's fair. You know, there's many films I'm never ever watching again.
Moonfall.
I didn't even want to watch in the first place.
Moonfall. Yep.
So you know,
you're welcome.
It's one of those films. I think it's an interesting film because everyone has different reactions to it. And I think we do need films that are like that maybe don't necessarily 100% work all the time.
No.
If you know what I mean, it's kind of
well, it's that.
You know, we had a good discussion out of it, which you know, a longer discussion than good films get sometimes.
Yes.
Well, you go, it was good, wasn't it? It was.
Yeah.
Can we go home? Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It's the old it's the comedy reviews. Whenever we have to review a comedy, isn't it? It's like, did you laugh? Yeah. What was your favourite joke? I like this bit. Okay, great. Now what? Yeah. Yeah. No, I think it does the thing that a lot of people say, which is, you know, it's better to swing for the fences and not always hit than it is to, you know, play the safe route. I just, you know, oh, sorry, I'm doing the thing again. I should have just left it. Sorry, Jim, carry on. Sorry, I'm doing it again. Stop me.
No, it's a film, definitely. I think even if it doesn't entirely work for you, I think it's a film it's worth a watch because it is. I mean, I said to Teresa, it's kind of, I can't think of another film it's like.
No.
If you know what I mean, it's very much, it's got its own distinct thing, and I can't really think of a film that I'd put it with a double bill with it. I really found out how a hard match because it is just kind of, this is so, I mean, offbeat and overused, but this is that in a musical sense offbeat, and deliberately so. It's, you know what I mean. It is a film about, you know, taking you on a real bit of a wild ride and you know, make you. You know, make you think about things. So
yeah,
it's worth seeing. You might not like it, but you'd probably be glad you watched it anyway. If you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, it's a definite it'll definitely broaden your horizons, if nothing else. Yeah. Okay. Well, unless anyone's got anything further to add, we can wrap it up there. And I'm quite happy to talk about it some more. But like I say, I keep stopping myself from going rah, 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 me, and yeah, I'm getting bored with me talking about it in these kind of terms. No, because it's just like, oh, I'm just saying the same old thing. So, but you know, all good.
Yep, I've got nothing else for this one.
Okay, cool. Right. In which case we'll leave it there. So. Yes, The Man Who Killed Hitler and Then the Bigfoot is available on Amazon Prime. Do check it out. And like I say, as Jim said, you might not necessarily like it, but you won't see anything like it.
No, definitely not.
You know, so you know, look at it as at least an education, if nothing else. But if you do like it, all the better. But if you do have any thoughts on it, do send them in to feedback@blackdogpodcast.com or leave us a little feedback note on the Facebook group, which is facebook.com/groups/the Black Dog Podcast. Right. Okay. Well, we'll leave it there. But before we do, head off into the wild blue yonder to go, oh, Bigfoot, bang. Let's find out what we are going to be doing next. And Elton, it's your choice, sir.
It is my choice. So we're doing Harry and the Hendersons.
Nice.
No, not this time.
Nice.
No.
Okay, go on then.
That infamous film where everyone says, "Oh, where do baby pigeons come from?" You never see it. But, oh yeah, okay, right. Yeah,
Bad news. Pigeon dead. Skull face.
Full circle. There you go.
There you go. Yep.
No, I'm going to revisit a film I haven't seen for quite some time. I own. I bought as soon as I could. I didn't see it at the cinema though. Did I see it? No, I didn't see it at the cinema.
Right.
But I haven't seen.
Is it Electric Blue number 9?
Debbie Does Dallas. Does it have the guy from Star Wars Episode 1 in it?
No.
Does it have the guy from Episode 2 in it? Attack of the Clones.
Actually, has it got anyone in? No,
Does it
doesn't,
have
no.
the guy from Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith?
No, but it does have a rapper in it, which has probably the same sort of timing that Chief Chirper had.
Chief Chirper from Star Wars Episode 6, Return of the Jedi. Right, okay.
Anyway, it's a film I haven't seen in about 20 years. And I know you guys haven't seen this.
No.
I don't know if Darren has or not.
I don't know.
Hopefully he'll be back to watch this.
Okay.
But it's a film called Training Day.
Training Day.
Yes.
Which is not the same as the movie that's in the cinema called Air, which is about trainers.
No, that's Trainer Day. No.
Trainers Day.
This is the Denzel Washington, Ethan Hawke copy thing.
Copy.
No, not an office training day. It's that they are cops.
Just sort of orientating people to the sort of how to use the photocopy.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Training day. Press the green button.
Yes. Now we do charge for the copies. So if you do want to use one, just tap the button.
What you gotta do is put your printer name into this thing here like this, and then place your copy there. Close it down and press this button here. Now, if it doesn't work, you have to go and check and see if there's any paper in there.
Yeah. Oh, so it's not that one.
No, it's not that one. No.
Is it set in JD Sports?
No, it is not. Or Foot Locker, for that matter.
Oh God. Okay. Foot Locker. That's going back some, isn't it?
Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
Our price.
Should
we go back even further?
Yeah.
Tower Records.
HMV's reopening in Oxford Street. That's all I'm saying.
Isn't it?
There you go. Big news. Only to the people who give a shit. But yes, opening.
Wow.
Anyway, sorry.
I'm glad another shop has opened up that I can buy T-shirts in that I will never wear.
And pop figures, because they're going to be everywhere, aren't they?
Yeah, and vinyl.
And vinyl, which you can't play.
Overpriced vinyl as well.
Nice. Yes. Anyway. Right.
Training Day. Has anyone
Day.
seen it?
No, I haven't seen it at all. Jim, have you seen it?
No, I've not. No.
Anyone looking forward to this at all?
I've heard it's quite a tough watch.
Okay.
I have no idea whether or not it actually is a tough watch. I'm only going by what I've heard.
Okay.
So I'm interested. Plus, it has our unofficial club mascot now, which is Jake Gyllenhaal, doesn't it?
No, he's not in it.
Oh no, it's not. You know what I'm thinking of? I'm thinking of oh God, what's that one where it's the same sort
where
of
he's a cop.
where he's a cop. Oh.
Isn't that End of
Shift or something? End of Watch.
End of Watch, yeah. That's a good film.
Oh, great. Okay. Well, that proves I haven't fucking seen it, doesn't it? And at that point, everyone logs off because my credentials, along with my hypocrisy, have driven them away. Right. Okay, then. Jim, are you looking forward to it?
I am. I do like a good Denzel Washington movie. And I don't know why I've never got around to seeing this one. So, look, that should be a fun watch, I'm thinking.
Okay. Cool.
Unless it is a really tough watch, and it's...
Yeah, exactly. In which case, we'll be back. We'll be back to Hitler and Bigfoots again. Cool. Okie dokie. In which case, we shall leave it there. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you, Jim. Thank you, Elton.
You're welcome.
I would say thank you, Darren, but he's not around. Hold on. What's DarrenGPT got? Has he got anything to say? I can't remember. Darren, I'm not going to fucking talk to you.
That's a low blow, man.
Oh, right. Fair enough. All right. We'll go on in. Darren, have you got any advice for us?
Just remember, kids, if you're doing anything that involves cleaning a ceiling, wear eye protection.
Thanks.
Cleaning ceiling.
That's it.
There we go.
There you go. And if you take nothing else away from this podcast this week, that's it. Always wear eye protection if you're cleaning ceiling. So, over to the Pimp's Corner, he says quickly, Jim, what's going on in Hypnagoria Land?
Yes, right. Yeah, how would you follow that? Dear me.
I don't know.
Yes, I've just released an episode this weekend. First of a little 2-part mini series. It is going to be 2 parts. Looking at a very brief cycle of horror movies from the 1940s made by Republic Pictures, who people better remember for their serials, like the Rocket Men stuff.
Oh, blimey.
Well, they made 5 horror movies in an attempt to compete with Universal, which are very little talked about. But
okay, interesting. And you're saying that's only 2 parts?
It is only 2 parts because there's only 5 films. And I'll do the first 2 in the first episode.
Okay. You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. Yep. It is only 2 parts. So
most definitely.
So when Jim's telling us about it being the 77th part of an ongoing series about Republic serials.
Well, technically it's part of the Universal Horror series, which is getting to 30 episodes. So.
Oh, right. Okay, fair enough. There you go. Brilliant. And that's all over at Hypnagoria, yeah?
It is indeed.
Cool. Brilliant. And what about you, Elton?
At the moment, you can hear me talking about cars going round and round in circles at the Grand Prix podcast.
Cool. Gearing up for the inevitable crossover with this podcast when we review Gran Turismo, the movie.
Oh,
our Fast and Furious season.
I'll be honest, Gran Turismo, the movie, I bailed halfway through the trailer.
Oh, you should watch the whole trailer because it tells you the entire film in 2 minutes. It's great. You actually see everything. You see the boy learn. You see the boy learn Gran Turismo. You see him become good at it. You see him get drafted into the circuit. You see him beat all of his mates to become the only driver. You see him get the success. Then he gets a girl. Then he loses everything. Then he comes back. He then takes the race. He gets beaten over by actual professional drivers who hate him. And then guess what? He wins.
Right, okay.
And that is all in the trailer.
Sweet.
In order. So you can watch the entire film in 2 minutes.
I am happy to have like a little dive on that one. Yeah.
That's good.
When it comes out, we'll do it.
Okay. That sounds like a threat more than something to look forward to, if I'm honest. Right, okay. Well, that's it from all of us. Thank you so much for listening. Again, thank you, Jim, and thank you, Elton. And we shall see you all next week for Training Day, which, again, has nothing to do with shoes. So, until then, take care. Tatty bye.
Bye-bye.
Ta-da.
Will you fucking speak up?
There's a voice that keeps on calling me. Down the road, it's where I'll always be. Every stop I make a new friend. Can't stay for long, just turn around and I'm gone again. Maybe tomorrow I'll want to settle down. Until tomorrow, I'll just keep moving on.
Get out of the booth, Jack.
No, I like it in here.